Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next episode on my YouTube channel for career growth. Today, I will be talking to Olga Lagunova, who's currently the Chief Technology and Product Officer at GoTo. She is a highly accomplished technology leader with about 30 years of experience in the IT industry. Today, she'll share key insights and strategies from her impressive career journey. Let's dive in and learn from her. Thank you.
Hi, Olga. Very good morning. How are you doing today?
Hi, Sharmila. I'm doing great and hope you're doing great too.
I'm doing good. Thank you. Lovely to see you after such a long time. And thanks for taking time on a Monday morning to do this.
Looking forward to speaking with you.
Thank you. My pleasure. So, Olga, without taking much of your time, we can go ahead and quickly get started. So, this is going to be about your career journey in the IT industry over the years. So, the first question about it would be, if you can quickly give a brief introduction about yourself and provide an overview of your career journey so far, please.
Sure, I will be happy to do that. So I have about 30 years of experience developing products in high-tech companies. So right today, let me start by sharing with you what I do today. Today, I'm Chief Product and Technology Officer for GoTo. The former name of the company logged me in, and a lot of our customers know us by this name. So just want to mention it. It's a global software company. We develop software for IT management, and also communication, business communication. We have about 800,000 customers across the world, and we are very proud of it. We have about 2,500 employees. That most of our employees work remotely. So we are a remote first company, and we develop software for remote world, and very proud of our success with our customers. So our team is very global. We are all over the world: Canada, India, Hungary, Germany, US, and Finland. So I have a pleasure of leading a really talented team, about 1,000 people who build our products, who design our products, who create strategy for our products, and also operate and secure our products. So I kind of have a pleasure of being in both worlds, creating products for our customers that they love, at the same time running our products. So being almost an IT business myself. So that's what I do today. Through my career, I worked for different companies. I started back in former Soviet Union, a small country called Moldova. And when I ran my own company for a while, and then I moved to the United States, where I worked for about 20 years building software for IT, for our IT customers, starting with a company called Computer Associates. Then I moved to non-IT companies, a company called Pitney Bowes, where I was Chief Data and Analytics Officer, and also ran a lot of our products, engineering as well. And now I'm at GoTo.
Oh, okay. Very nice, Olga, to know about this. It's very, very interesting that, you started off your career, having your own company. I mean, very few people have that boldness to start off their career setting up something on their own. It's eventually is when they want to do that, right? This is something that I didn't know. And it's very, I think it takes a lot in you to kind of do that in the very beginning before you kind of start joining other companies, becoming a salaried employee. And like you mentioned, right, you just started off with it. Hats off to you to begin that way.
Well, let me be completely transparent. It's a situation when you take a challenge and make it an opportunity, right? Because it was a really tough time, and there was Soviet Union was falling apart, so economy was not doing very well. And you have to do that, right? And then I think starting it with my friends and enjoying doing it was a really great experience.
Yeah. I think very well said. Take a challenge and make it an opportunity. That's very nice. I can really see that. Thank you so much, Olga, for that brief introduction. So moving on, right, with the various roles that you have played so far with, 3 decades of experience, what inspired you to pursue a career in technology?
Oh, that was actually very simple. I grew up as a person, like as a child who loved math and loved everything related to science. So
Okay.
I was inclined to do that. And when I was about 14, 15, I get exposed to the programming while I was at school, and it was of big mainframes kind of thing.
Oh,
And a long time ago, and I just fell in love with it. I was just like, I don't want to do anything else. So it was very clear to me. I went to university to pursue a master in applied mathematics, which was as close at that point to the software development and data science as possible. And I worked through almost all the times that I was in university. I started working as a developer probably when I was 17, and loved it. Loved it. I think it's generally for my kids. I always say, like, when you go to school, make sure that you find internship, research, whatever, and you work through it, because it's a awesome way to learn
yeah.
theory and practice.
Agreed. I think it's lovely to know that, you kind of started liking mainframes at such a young age, and that's how you kind of have it in you. There's a saying, right? You love what you do, or you do what you love, or you start loving what you do. And, if there's a match that you love something and you can continue doing that, nothing like it, then you actually like deliver more than 100%. Right. So that's an interesting one, that age 17 itself, you kind of started doing all of this. Nice. Very nice to know. And that's why I think the technology has always been your path. Right. With that, I guess that would be right to say.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think
great.
as I was growing through the technology by itself at the beginning is fascination, right?
Yeah.
But I think my passion over the years became like really building the products, using technology to build the products that human loves, and also the products that make business successful, right? And if you build it with the teams of very smart people and people that the wonderful teams, it's just such a pleasure and such a privilege.
Yeah, agreed. Totally agreed. Cool. Thanks, Olga, for that. Next thing is about, you've been a leader for such a long time now. So the question is around leadership and team building. Uh, Over the years, how do you approach decision making in complex and high pressure business scenarios? I'm sure you've seen more than one throughout, and in your current role, maybe more. So how do you kind of deal with that?
Yeah, it's a really excellent question. So there is a theory behind how you make decisions. We all know it, right? And it's very plain. You like go gather information and data, identify, evaluate alternatives, consider potential risks, seek input from the stakeholders, make timely decisions, and communicate and move forward, right? We all know that. That's how, when we build it as a program, or we're making tough decisions or difficult decisions, that's how we approach it structurally. But in reality, it's messier, right? Because the framework is there, and you should follow the framework. But how do you get to the decisions depends on a lot of things, including competency to go through this process in such a way that you don't get influenced by other things, including humans, including emotions, including so techniques needs to be there, the process needs to be there, and sometimes you also need to figure out whether it's one-door decision is a two-door decision, right? Like one-way decision, two-way decision. If you cannot reverse the decision, then it's a really high stake, and you need to take it very seriously. You need to go through the process. If it is a very reversible decision, you're making something, experimenting with the product, you're always better off making a decision, going through this one-way, two-way door, trying it doesn't work, come back, try something else, because in the business it matters. So a couple of techniques that we use at GoTo, which I found really, really helpful, right? Part of it, how do you analyze the information without, if it's really a one-way door meaning you cannot reverse the decision, how do you go about that? Because this is where the stakes are really high, and you want to make it in the most disciplined way, right? So the one way that I found really helpful and I learned in GoTo is writing culture and silent read, right? Where the teams does the work, and it comes from Amazon. This type of methodology comes from Amazon. You write it down. You put all your facts, your alternatives, everything that we just discussed, but it's not a PowerPoint, it's a writing document. And then your arguments come across much clearer. It's not about how compassionate you are or how enigmatic you are as a presenter. It's about your facts, because the rest of the team and decision makers are going and analyzing it and writing comments and writing questions. And there is a lot of goodness in this process. First, it takes emotion out. Second, everybody has a voice, right? We know if it's a meeting, you have, 5% of people talking in the meeting. This way, everybody has a voice. And it's very important in high-tech companies where we have introverts and extroverts, where we have people where the English, for example, not their first language. You would not hear their voices, right? You would never have also such a clarity of argument as you would have in the written document. So I think this is really, really important. And the culture of debate and commit is also very important, right? That at some point you make a decision and move forward. So I think that's how I'm thinking about it. One-way door or two-way doors. Two-way doors, make a decision fast, move, speed matters. One-way door, take time, make sure that you're not biased, and you've had a good chance to review, analyze, and then make decision and commit to it.
Yeah, great, wonderful, Olga. I mean, that's definitely great insights. I think the very nice fact that you mentioned is about writing down facts and then doing a silent read of it enlightens so much than just, looking at the data, or, equally like what you mentioned, data is also important, right, to come to a decision. But writing it down gives you a lot of clarity than just reading something online, right?
I agree with you. I think you have experienced it as well.
Yeah, because I think when you write, I think there's some kind of sync. I don't know if people would want to call it old school, but it helps you get to a lot of clarity. But yeah, thank you so much for that. As to how you kind of make those decisions, especially given the role that you're in, and especially when your decisions kind of affect what's the growth of the company. It's so many people's careers and jobs that is at stake, right? And the entire business of the company itself. Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Olga, so much for that. In continuation to that, about team building, right? So I'm sure apart from the success and all the nice things that happen, you also see failures and setbacks. How do you kind of handle that, and how do you encourage your team to learn from failures and move forward with it? It's not an easy one, but you must have seen this so much throughout your career. So how do you go about it?
Failures are hard, right? Failures are hard. I think logically we all know that failures is our path to learning. And it's really important thing to be comfortable with or know how to handle. But emotionally, failures are hard, right? We don't like that. So you almost need to look at it as a discipline and figure out how you're going to do it. Because if you never fail, you probably didn't try hard enough, right? To do something different. You cannot succeed all the time, which means that you probably missed an opportunity to innovate or missed trying something messy that could got you to a really, really interesting outcome for your teams, for your businesses, for your customers, right? So I think it is important to push yourself to do things that may lead to failure. Now, to me, a couple of things. I think growth mindset is truly important, especially for people who are early in the career or through the career. Just having this growth mindset that when you find yourself as a person in this messy situation where you feel like that's a high risk, right? You could say something to yourself like, mistakes help me, like just remind yourself that mistakes help me learn to grow, right? And maybe you are getting into, multiple times in my career, I stepped into something where I have never done before, right? Like, and the higher you go in the leadership, the more the impact of your mistakes could be really high, right? And very, very visible. So I think you have to give yourself a chance to say, I cannot do this yet, but I'm open to learning new things and I will get it, right? I just knowing, it's actually very much an engineering quality, I would think. Like, this is what you learn when you go to engineering school. Yes, I can work through the problem, right, and solve it. So as a human, I think this is very important to at any level to be able to do that and be open to that. I think that I'll give you an example in my previous job, how you think about what success looks like. I think also for you and for your teams is also very important for a leader specifically, right? When I joined Pitney Bowes, my previous job, I was hired by a chief innovation officer to help to transform the company. As a technologist, helping to support the business transformation. And this is a risky thing, right? Pitney Bowes is one of the iconic companies. It's existed for 100 years. So it's in Smithsonian Museum. It's transforming such a fundamentally iconic company was very, very interesting. But it's innovation, spirit, and it's all competences were in mailing business. And mailing business is not something that is boring. So it's a profound business transformation. And 90% of this transformation failed. They're just not because people don't do the things right, but because the risk is so high. You're making so many decisions on the way, even if not every decision will be correct, for example, but so the chances that you will make something and it's not going to work. But and it didn't. It did at the end. Like if I look at it 10 years later, I left the company, but where it is today, it's not a story of success in the stocks and booming transformation. It is not. But when I look at it as the times that we were transforming the company, I feel very proud of what we have done. Because we did a lot of things in such a way that looking back, you should say, we did it right. We put everything we could into it. We were disciplined in our outcomes. We were disciplined in our approaches. We invested in people, in culture, in customers, in everything that we have done. And even like if you look at it as a kind of a business case, if you look at it now, from the kind of business school perspective, right, case study, you could see a lot of things that everybody would say, yeah, that's what you're supposed to be doing, right? But so how you measure success of this career path or of this accomplishment? I think you can measure your success by the success of your customers, right? Did your customer and clients, did they see improvements in your products? Did you give them something that is really meaningful and helps them? You can measure it by success of your employees and the growth of people, the culture that you created, creating a value that can be measured in other ways. not only through financial and stock outcomes, because that's not always going to work out. So, and as a leader, you kind of should keep examining it and sharing it with the teams, because there are other ways you could think about it. Ultimately, for any business success is a measure. But what you learned, what you built, how you did it, looking back and saying, did I put everything I could into it? Did our team put everything we could? Did we do everything we could? And how we did it? I think it matters.
Yeah, okay. Very well said, Olga. I think I really like the fact that you brought in saying, it's good to give it a try instead of saying, oh, I will not take that risk, like what you said, right? If you didn't fail, you didn't try hard enough, right? That was very well said. And agreeing that, you put in the efforts and we're ready to take that high amount of risks. And then the importance of, your success is based on the success of your customers and your employees, right? I know some companies focus only on customers and not the employees, but the way you, emphasized on the success of employees as well, that eventually leads to the success of the company as well.
And sometimes, like, if I look at it, there were tons of business successes, right? But winning a battle and winning a war is two different things. Like transforming the whole, you can transform a part of the business and fail to transform the whole company, right? And I think that's the dimensions of the complexity in the complex businesses. You have to look at it holistically and fight and win every single battle, so to speak, to get to the overall success, just the reality.
Yeah. Got it. I mean, it was very well said how you said there's a framework, but this is how it works in reality. You kind of differentiated that so well. Thank you so much for that, Olga. It actually shows how you kind of doing it, and that's why you are where you are today, because the way you've been working through this, right? That kind of explains it so much.
Thank you. Okay.
Thanks for that. So going on to the next one, right? This is around your vision and strategy. How do you generate and sell new technology ideas to executive leadership?
Yeah, so I am very fortunate that I'm fortunate because I live product and technology, right? And so and I will address both way. If you're only technologist, it's slightly different. But in all my life, whether I was in product role, technology role, chief data and analytics officer, right? Running just technology in different companies, you never sell technology. That's not the point, right? You sell the value. You sell what this technology can do, and for internal stakeholders or for your customers, what problems you are trying to solve. So I think I spent at some point a lot of time with chief data and analytics officers or people who like CIOs, right? And I'm doing it now, teaching at Carnegie Mellon. You could see the challenges if you are only a technologist, and how do you articulate the value of the amazing data platform or amazing AI technologies that you got you got excited about and know you can do for the company? How do you talk about it? What and it's all about tying to success of the business, tying to the success of the customers. Why does it matter to humans overall and the business? So that's the trick, and you have to be a really good storyteller. And I'm constantly working on it because as technologists, as engineers, we're usually very crisp and to the point. We do X, Y, and Z, and it's going to be Y, right? Like that. And I think it's very important to understand that people absorb information very differently. And as a storyteller, you have to be able to incorporate your presentation has to match multiple different type of audiences. You want to use data, you want to use visuals, you want to use analogies, right? So it is not just about facts. It's also about being able to apply to emotions and visuals and audio or whatever it is that your audience is responsive to.
Okay. I think that was very, very good. The point that you mentioned, right? I think the fact that you have to keep in mind is how does it matter to humans, and then associate it with storytelling. So yeah, I think you kind of nailed it. And given that you manage the product and the business part of it and the technology, I think you kind of can connect the dots and see, what the balance or how to kind of move it forward, right?
Yeah. Well, again, from a very big principle, if you're in product and technology, right, your job is to create products that customer values and the products that work for your business, so you can make money, and make successful business, right? That's what the role is.
That's what the role is. Yeah. Cool. Amazing. Makes sense. I think you kind of summarized it in one sentence now. Thanks so much for that. Okay. Cool. So in continuation to the same one on strategy. So in your view, what are the biggest challenges and opportunities facing businesses in your industry today?
Yeah. So if you look in IT and general in technology, if you're selling the products or developing products that we create for our customers, the challenges that we have as an organization, developing products, running IT, right? It will very much also reflects what the customers experiencing. Except in our world, a lot of our customers are small and medium businesses, so a lot of these challenges are amplified even, right? So it's from technology perspective, it's a very different world than it was 3 years ago, right? We have between cybersecurity and that added pressure on everybody. We know how important it is to keep the businesses secure. That's absolutely crucial. We also know that it's getting progressively more difficult in the world, and you need to implement a lot of new technology. You need to pay attention to security more than ever before. So you're doing a lot, especially in this remote environment. There are a lot of things that add pressure to the IT teams or managed service providers that we also serve, or even the business leaders, right? You have to think about more. Then you have also the opportunities like AI that you need to take. This is like amazing development, but at the same time you have to be thinking about it. You have to be exploring it. You have to be taking advantage of it, or you're falling behind. And we're also dealing with a situation when in a lot of the customers that we see, they are definitely doing more with less people, more with less money. So the budgets, right? We were so fortunate for 20 years, at least in the United States, where economy was booming like crazy, and everything was only growth, right? And the world, economical conditions in the world. So there are a lot of these pressures. I think that our customers are definitely seeing, and the industry overall.
Okay. That was, I think you kind of summarized it like really well, talking about the challenges and looking at it as opportunities. I think at the beginning of the call also you mentioned as, take a challenge and make it an opportunity. That was when you start off your career. And I think that kind of is in you, and it's, it's kind of continuing. So that kind of explains as to, I will just summarize the answer for that question. Cool. Thanks, Olga. So moving to the next era, it's around mentorship and growth. So the first question is, as a leader, what do you believe are the most critical qualities or skills required to succeed in today's corporate world?
I'm going to start with something that I truly believe, and it's probably not what people will start with. I do think when, as a leader, you really should pay attention to your integrity. I think it's important. Because you're going to make, as I said, you're going to make a lot of decisions. You're going to make the decisions that could take you to success or failure or whatever. It's not always depends on you. You have to be able to look back and said, and it impacts people, right? You have to be able to look back and said, I did it. I did everything I could, and I did it right. I did it right in terms. I did it the way that didn't compromise my integrity and my beliefs. Right. I think it's important because it's a long career. It's a long life. But on a very career kind of advice, I think we talked about it. You have to have a growth mindset. You have to be fascinated by innovation and always looking what's next and be forward-looking leader. You need to pay attention to the speed of execution. Businesses differentiate themselves by the speed of execution. It matters a lot. And knowing when you need to slow down to make a decision, but when you really need to push through the decision is really important. And you cannot underestimate communication. You have to have communication skills. And actually it's work. Like communication skills is work. I think there are some people who are better at that, and I really admire them. I need to work for that. So.
Oh, and why you would say you need to work on that? I'm sure you have brilliant ones, having worked with you. But yeah, I totally agree on the communication skills. I think it's how you put across, for looking back on what you mentioned previously about the storytelling, associating it with, human emotions, keeping people in mind. It's about your employees, your customers, all of that summarized, right? I think communication skills do play a key role, but thank you so much for emphasizing on the integrity and beliefs as well. I mean, that was a surprise element. I know that is key as well, but the fact that is one of the most important things or to succeed in today's corporate world is a key takeaway. I mean, personally, that is a key takeaway for me. Thanks so much for emphasizing on those 2 points. Okay. Thanks, Olga. On the growth factor, as a mentor, because you also mentor people at work and otherwise, what advice do you often provide to women aspiring to rise higher in their careers?
Actually, probably would be universal, but you for women specifically, I have to say, I have been watching this industry and women in technology through my whole career, being one of them, and I do think that the world is a very different world now than it was 30 years ago. I'm absolutely I'm so impressed what India has done as a country, and especially for women in STEMs. I think we have a parity now, 50% of graduates are women. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. I don't think many countries can say that. But still, it is slightly more difficult to be in different countries, but it's definitely still more difficult to be a woman, just probably because you might be different in a large group of 20, teams of 20, you could be one. So it's just more difficult to find your voice often. But I would say it's a universal advice. Be comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's the path to growth, right? If you're very again, embracing growth mindset. If you feel too comfortable, you're probably not growing. Push yourself to do things that you never thought you could do. And know that you're not going to be perfect the day one. You can't. It's impossible. Perfection is not the goal. Agreed to grow, like commitment to getting better and learning and being very, very good at learning and growing and permitting yourself to grow. I think that's the most important thing.
Okay. I think that was wonderfully said, Olga. Be comfortable being uncomfortable, right? This is something I don't think anybody easily says that or accepts that, because what I have heard personally from my career, from my career perspective, is if the environment or the surroundings don't suit you, make a move to where you're comfortable. But I think the emphasis that you're doing on be comfortable being uncomfortable is like you adapt to the situation, you kind of work around it and make it work for you, right?
Well, the other way, yes, but I would probably say it differently. If you have something that you really wanted to do, and I'll give an example from my life, but if you wanted to do something and you would let your fear of failure to prevent you from doing it, you will regret it later, right? Don't do it to yourself. And it could be like, okay, I wanted to have a startup and I didn't. For me, it was, I always wanted to study at Carnegie Mellon, right? I never had a chance to do that. But when I was like given a chance to teach at Carnegie Mellon, I was like thrilled and terrified because I have never done that before, right? And it was such a fantastic growth experience for me and such a rewarding experience to be connected to tons of chief data officers across the world, essentially, and being able to share my experiences. So don't cheat yourself, right? Give yourself a pleasure of learning and succeeding in something that you didn't know whether you could.
Okay. I think what you innately want, it does happen. This saying, right? The universe kind of put things together. If you really want it. Your example was perfect for that, right? About the university and being a teacher there. I really still don't understand how you kind of balance everything, given your teaching classes, the hectic schedule at work, and your personal life. But hats off to you on that front.
Yeah, and the only thing that I would say for women and especially people who are just starting the career, the business acumen is very, very important. And it's probably not the first things that we do, but understanding your customers and your business always, I think, super important.
Yeah. I think that's one major factor not many people pay importance to. At least, I know of people who just go do their daily work and deliverables in our back, right? They're happy being in that, like we can call it the comfort zone, right? Never associating with the business acumen. And you can see the growth because it's a personal thing. If you're comfortable in that space, you're comfortable, right? Not everybody wants to kind of reach the stars or so. So yeah, cool. Thanks so much for that, Olga. Okay. So the last one would be the closing one. What advice do you have for aspiring leaders who are looking to make a significant impact in their career?
Yeah, I think the first one I already mentioned, look at challenge as an opportunity. There is, and you do it not only for yourself, you do it for your teams, you do it for everybody around you. I think the other thing is the desire to get the solution right rather than being right. And I think it's a very, very powerful thing if you have this open mindset. Listen to the facts, listen to people to understand what's happening. Be ready to change your opinion if it's proven to be wrong. Be a trailblazer in being fearless in attacking the problems, but also get inspiration from others who do the same, and be generous in recognizing it. I think that's really important.
Okay, yeah, perfect. I think that was very well said, especially the desire to get the solution right than being right. You just nailed it. Right? Thanks, Olga. Thank you so much for the closing ones. Last but not the least, it's going to be a quick rapid fire round. You know,
Let's try.
it's just going to be one word answers. Good to go? Can we get started?
Sure.
Okay. The first one is one word to describe your leadership style.
Adaptability.
Perfect. What's your favorite aspect of your job?
Creativity.
Wow. What's your favorite work-related application?
Recently, it was ChatGPT and Gemini.
All right. What's the most significant change you witnessed in your industry in the past year?
AI.
Perfect. How do you stay motivated during challenging times?
Great.
Wow, that's interesting. What's your top networking tip?
Do it when you don't need it.
Wow, that's an impressive one.
Well, let me explain what I mean by that. It's like stay connected with people. Just be generous in your help, and because sometimes we just jump into networking when we're looking for a job, and that's not the time to do that. It's not the best time to do it. Not the only time to do that.
Awesome. I think that was very well said. Thank you so much for that. Okay. What's one skill you want to develop further this year?
Storytelling.
All right. I should have known that for the discussion that we just had a few minutes ago. What's your favorite way to unwind after a long day at work?
Yoga and friends.
Impressive. What's the best career advice you've ever received?
Speed in business is crucial competence.
Wow. Interesting. I think that's bang on. Otherwise, you're way behind in business, right? Says so much. What's your favorite quote that inspires you and why?
This is Peter Drucker, not a long time ago. Management is doing things right. Leadership is doing the right things.
Okay, yeah, got it. Okay, perfect. Nice. Thanks, Olga. I think it was a very interesting one, especially the rapid fire round. Great answers. I'm going to kind of, write a notepad and stick it on my wall in my study room. Thanks so much for that.
Thank you so much, Sharmila. It's such a pleasure speaking with you. Really appreciate it.
Same here, Olga. Any last ones that before we kind of say bye for now about career that you want to talk about?
I know. Thank you again. A pleasure speaking with you. I always learn tons from you as well. So really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today.
Thanks, Olga. That's very humble of you to say such sweet words. Thanks so much for taking time on a Monday morning to do this, and you have a lovely week ahead. Thanks again for your time.
Here are some of the key takeaways from today's conversation with Olga. The first one being take a challenge and make it an opportunity. Growth mindset is very, very important. If you do not fail, it means you do not try hard enough. Integrity is a very key factor for any leader. Never sell technology. You need to be a good storyteller. Business acumen is very important as much as your technical skills are equally important. And be a trailblazer. And speed in business is very, very crucial. I hope you do implement some of these in your career and keep moving up the ladder. Talk to you soon in the next episode. Thank you.